My name is Becky Achieng, and I'm the seventh born of 10 children. I come from Migori. During my days in college, I was to be a cooperative manager, and I was always being assigned to a silly cooperative. By then, it was the cooperative for Ministry of Mines and Geology. During my attachment, I made relationships with the manager and the people I was working with. So, after college, I was meant to go and start with them. I had my firstborn just when I was just about to finish. And by the time I was to start working, she was around 10 months. And that day I told myself that I was not going to stay at work the whole day. So I told the manager I'll only work up to 1. Now on my way back to the house, I met my niece, and she told me, I want to go and see your place so that next time when I say I'm going for outing, I know where I'm coming. You know, she just wanted to lie that she's coming to my place. Now to my surprise, when we reached where I was staying, I saw people like gathering, but I was still also new in that place. I was just months old. And as I moved next to them, they kind of got quiet, and I asked myself, what could be the problem? But nobody talked to me. But when I went to the house, what I got shocked me, because I saw the lifeless body of my kid lying there. And that marked the end of me and work. So all this time I've been doing things at my convenience. I do what I want, when I want. When I don't want to work, I don't work. So I've been doing things, and I went on. I was still in the marriage. I had my second born, who is now my first girl, who is 22. And she's doing software engineering in Canada. And then I had my second born, who is doing international relations still in Canada. So at this point, something also that I didn't mention, that came 2009, the marriage also now fell apart. But when it was falling apart, I already now had these 2 children. And at that point, I also lost everything. I lost, and I had to start from zero again. I think I always tell people that by the time I was moving, I had like 500 and 100, that was 600. But something happened to me that I had kind of like a call, kind of like a voice telling me that there's something I need to do, but I would not do it in that time. So kind of that gave me consolation. But still, as the society is set up, I felt alone. And I was starting another journey to be myself. Now, during this time, I found myself very much alone, and I started reading about self-help, many books, personal development books, and this is what kept me company. And I could do some inspirational music, and I was just alone in my house. I could even stay in the house for 1 week, 2 weeks, just reading books. And my sister could even call me at 4. What are you doing? I said, I'm reading. And she was always asking, what are you reading? What is this that you are reading every day? So I was reading books. I could even go to any bookshop, walk in a bookshop, buy even 10 books. Even if I was having 5,000, I'll carry books and nothing else. But all these books, apparently, they were on personal development. Now, after that, after I gained my strength, I told myself that whatever I was doing at that time could not service me to take care of my needs and the life I wanted. So I decided I was going to do a different thing altogether. And on that decision, I also studied on what I wanted to be. So I changed from what I was doing then, and I started studying about interior design. I painted and renovated the Holy Family Basilica that is in town. and some hotel in Kisumu, and another one in by 5-star hotel. And I told myself, what stopped people? And all this I was doing after I went into depression. I was on Prozac, and I told myself, I'm not going to live on drugs because of depression. So I told myself I was going to move it. So I continue on my self-development journey, doing videos, doing what, going online, talking to people, seeing the trainings. And in all this, I didn't know where all this was heading to. Then I went through some other dips again. I was doing a job on, on interior design. Somebody had contracted me now to rechange it. That was in Keleleshwa, to change the house, do the bathtubs, and remove the bathtubs and do the shower closures. Then my sister fell sick. She was diagnosed with cancer of the throat. Now, from that time, I took a lot of time taking care of her. I would be with her in the hospital from morning to evening to night. Now, unfortunately, she didn't pull through. Remember, I was doing a job that I left halfway. Then I went into taking care of her, and I lose her. So I lost my money there. I lost the goodwill of the people I was working with. We buried her, I think, in 2nd of November. Then on 8th, that is 5 days after her burial, then my mother suffered a stroke again. Then I went into taking care of her. That took me up to December. And by December, around 18th, she said, now I can go for Christmas, and the doctor gave her leave. And in January, I told myself, now I have to start my other journey. I started reaching out and talking to other people. Then on January 17th again, exactly 3 months after my sister, precisely on that day, I'd started to open another account, open another business. I was driving with my signatory, and I get a call from my sister that my niece was very sick. And somehow I felt low, and I lost my energy. I stopped that and went home. So when I went home, I just slept, I never ate. And at 8 o'clock, the same sister was calling me again. And I was like, why are you calling me this time? And she told me, we've just lost that boy. Then she told me she was not around in town, and my brother is alone. So I was supposed to move from my place, move to my sister's place, my brother's place, that is in Karen. So I stood in for my brother and the family, and my mother was brought. Remember, she had just suffered a stroke. So I was taking care of my mother and handling all the guests and doing everything and making the necessary arrangement here. So we went and buried the boy exactly like 2 weeks after. That was another 3rd of the next month. You remember we buried my sister on the 2nd? We buried this one on the 3rd. After this, I felt like I was I was lost. And I never felt like doing anything. I gave myself like another 3 months. That's when I started on the things that I was doing before my sister fell sick. So that's how I started all this. And what I'm doing now is just picking up after going off my niece's burial. And I said, in all this, I've managed to pick myself. I'm always picking myself and moving, picking myself and moving. Not to mention when I was doing the business, I just decided this is what I want to do, read about it, and go. So I told myself, all people lack on what they want is acquiring the skills that they need. Getting to know that if I decide that I want to do this, then I have to acquire the skill. then get the information on what I want to do. So it actually doesn't matter what happened yesterday, the other day, the next year. So this is the journey I want to carry people, that despite everything, you have to move. Yeah.